You're listening to the Pace Radio Network, here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
I want to talk about news, don't want the drama. From no pretentious media Madonna. I found me a great ganja mama. Cannabis and coffee with Tamarijuana.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Cannabis and Coffee with me. Looks like it's back to regular programming. I was away last week. Had a family emergency. My dad ended up in the ICU, and to be fair, he's 82 years old. And so Taven and I dropped and ran. I absolutely just got up and left. Got my day off and I took off, and I was gone for a week. So thankfully, I was able to run another program for me last week, and I missed out on Wednesday's Pace show. But thanks to everybody for all your support and all your well wishes. And yeah, he's still in ICU, unfortunately. But that's got everything to do with blood pressure medications and the way they wean them off and other things that are going on usually, when you hit that age. And geriatric care in Alberta right now, ICU, I can't say it was bad. But apparently I got a little leaked message today from AHS or whatever, or AISH or whatever, and things are going to change in Alberta drastically here in the next little bit. And I hope that you are still asking your MLAs, where's the plant medicine? Where's the plant taxes? Sorry, medicine, my brain. I need more medicine. Where's the cannabis taxes? They're all saying they have to cut back on this and cut back on that. You guys are getting a few more $1 billion a year because of cannabis taxation. Where's that money? And I'm going to keep saying it. Where the fuck's the money? We handed you the book, federal, showed you the money, showed it to you. And you ran with it, and you went and legalized cannabis. Now where's the money? Education, healthcare, housing. Where's the money? Just saying. I do have a guest this week. I don't know where he is. Carl Braun was supposed to be back for, 2.0 because we didn't have enough time the first time I had him on. And then last week, of course, I had to miss the show, but then he's supposed to be here. And I've sent him the link and I've talked to him. So I'm just waiting on him. But in the meantime, of course, we always take a few minutes to do a bit of a blurb in the beginning of the show anyway. So I come home on Saturday, 2 boxes, Amazon, toilet paper, all that kind of stuff. But I had a package from Steve Mathers as well. He's also affiliated to our network. He's on Mushy Moments with Reverend, what's her name? And so I come home with this beautiful package of stuff. So first of all, it's Inflammaclear, which is a mixture of all kinds of different antioxidants like curcumin and plantacolin and andrographic spa as well, green tea extract, salvia, buplamarine, soriel, rosemary, licorice root, black radish root, and it's a potent anti-inflammatory formula to reduce inflammations associated with various disease conditions. I'm not going to get into the rest of it but check it out. There's this one. And then this one here is Super Sea Veg, also from my dear friend there. Rich source of nutrients and minerals from multiple sea plants for optimal health. Modulates immune balance, broad spectrum antiviral factors, plus prebiotic factors support gut immune health. And I know that that's something that a lot of people are big on, is the immune gut health. That if your gut health is good, that everything else within your body should balance. I have colitis, and everything that I've got is autoimmune. So that means that it's not a topical condition that can be fixed. it's internal, right? Why I take methotrexate. Why does that camera look so foggy? Maybe it needs to, oh, what's flying down? Sorry, matey. I told him if he was going to be on TV that he had to wear a bow, and that was the end of it. So he's having a bow. Oh, it looks like my guest has arrived, but we're just going to finish up what we're doing here, and then I'll bring him on. But like I said, my camera looks foggy. Anyway, so this is the Super C Veg, and Steve sent this to me as well. And again, you can get all this stuff through his website. Now, this is something that I'm fairly interested in, right? Oh, it's gone again. Okay, so this is at -eze.com, right? So this is the Super 7 Mushroom Plus, a powerful blend of 7 mushrooms with added power of cacao and hodiola. Hodiola? I think that's how you say it. So it's got, it's a potent and effective 7 mushroom supplement. Now, this is not psychedelic mushrooms. These are like lion's mane and regular psilocybin, but it's not magic mushrooms. There's no psychedelic mushrooms in this mix. Not that I'm against that. I'm not in any way, shape, or form. It's just that I'm not good with psilocybin mushrooms, like with the magic mushrooms. I don't like that. I just don't like being out of control. I don't like hallucinations. I don't like that kind of stuff. Oh, now we've got him back. Okay, so anyway, so this is back to the 7 mushroom mix. So again, there's no magic psilocybin in this. This is just, and again, at /ease.com. And so this is all through Steve Mathers. Again, he's on our network, Mushy Moments with Cindy. And then he also sent me some gummies. Now, these are 20 milligrams a piece. Taven and I tried them. They didn't do much for us because they're 20 milligrams per, which 200 milligrams for the whole package. Apparently, our tolerance is too high, so we have to try some more of them. But we did try these. We didn't get much. I slept okay, but 20 milligrams isn't really just, like I said, maybe the whole package, but these are also available from Steve. So again, this is Cannabis Bloom, but we've got this availability too. So this is all stuff that I came home to in my mailbox, which I was super grateful for. So thanks to Steve for making sure that I had all this stuff when I got home, because it was a pretty stressful week last week, to be fair. Being in a hospital, watching my dad hooked up to all those machines was not fun. Anyways, we are, it's just the way it is. Everybody's getting older, and none of us are getting out of this alive. So if we can help boost our immune systems, because I turned 54 last week too. It was my birthday. It was a week. So lost through all that. So yeah, so I'm thinking I'm getting a bit older. We better try some more stuff. So again, it was nice to come home to all these lovely things in my mailbox. So again, thank you, Steve. I appreciate them, and I will give them a shot. I was going to try the mushrooms yesterday. I just trying to get my legs back underneath for being gone for a week, especially with everybody and the dogs, and having a creeping around my house, and having to call the RCMP, and having the dogs, maybe being reported because there's certain dogs. It's just been a fucking week from hell. But I'm back. And like I said, regular programming, I actually have to work today. And Taylor just come down, he goes, "Can I go to the gym?" I'm like, "Buddy, it's Monday. It's showtime. Can you wait?" I tell you, I do this every Monday. I've done it every Wednesday for 10 years. And my husband on Wednesday nights, when we're in the middle of pace, will still phone me. And I've been doing this for 10 years. All right. Anyways, I see Carl has, joined us. So I'm going to bring him on, and we're going to get back to what we were talking about 2 weeks ago. Because so we'll have to recap a little bit of where, who he is and whatever when we get back. So I'm going to welcome Carl Bruand. How you doing this morning, Carl? How you doing?
Hello. I'm fine, thanks. Out here in Ontario.
Out in Ontario, did you guys get a big snow blast too, or are you guys doing okay out there for snow?
Nah, come on. We had a few centimeters. A reminder it's winter. That's about it.
Yeah, right. Right, but it's not. We're not into May yet, sucker. Right?
Yeah.
That always likes to come in backlashes. Yeah, we had a bit here too, but I was in Lethbridge, so when I left here on Saturday, it was snowing like a son of a bitch, and I drove out to Alberta in a snowstorm, and
Right.
I was grateful. Like, we have cameras, right? So the next thing you know, my son's going, "Hey, somebody's like snow blowing our yard." I'm like, really? one of my friends' husbands, while I was gone, had come and blown out my carport, and snow blowing my whole corner lot. So that was awesome to come home to no snow, to have to
Wow.
shovel either. But it didn't snow much, so just enough to remind us. Yeah. So we're
Okay.
about. Do you remember where we were at when we left off? I can't even remember. It's been, like I said, we missed last week because of my family emergency. But let's just get back to who you are and how you got into cannabis.
Yeah, no, I was explaining a couple of situations that I had been in 2012, 2013, and I had 13 court appearances. I was defending myself.
Right, I remember that.
Yeah, and that was up in Bradford, Ontario. I didn't know as much then as I did following 5 years after that, 2017, 2018, when I was bud tending at a volunteer bud tender at a patient-centric dispensary up in Vaughan. And then when the Yorkie Porkies came in there, I was explaining a bit of the situation that went on.
This is all prior to legalization too, right? So this is prior to 2019 when legalization happened. And to be fair, since legalization, we still do not have medical dispensaries where we have access to medical.
Oh no, this is ridiculous. I mean, I'm on, or for any patients who are on ODSP, who cannabis is the sole prescribed medication.
It's not paid for.
It's not covered, and this is something that now to look into that. When we say it's not covered, we need to look at that again and say, okay, what would be covered? Let's just say it was covered. Would the patients be forced to go and knock on the doors of these illegal LPs under the Illegal Cannabis Act and the illegal ACMPR? They're illegal. So when they're saying, oh, the black market, they're actually the black market. And they're, we discussed this before. They hijacked the medical Supreme Court pushes of all the patients who did what they did, fighting for our lives, fighting for our free choice of primal medicine. And the federal government simply took that, got their butts kicked, but then spun it around and threw in recreational. I mean, recreational was an anomaly. It didn't exist in the dialogue prior to, Trudeau, and I spelled Trudeau, TRUEDOUGH. Okay, maybe it's just to avoid any, direct jibes, but
when legalization happened, that's not, like I said, they twisted the court cases. But again, this was never meant to be an industry. It was never meant to be something that was exploding into what it was. It was meant for health and safety purposes only, to be able to test and regulate for health and safety. And like, I was at those legalization roundtables, and that was the base point for all of it. It wasn't so that the LPs and everybody could run out and get rich. That was never the intent to begin with. And they were kind of forced into this corner because the Conservatives had already set the stage for patients losing their rights for gardening, right?
Sure.
That's set the stage for all of this. The start of this, right, was Harper's fucking bullshit about patients not being able to grow their own and having access to their own, because the fight was, well, they can't produce their own morphine, so why should we be allowing them to produce their own cannabis? So because of the stance that the Conservatives took, and then decided to throw us under the bus and throw this MMPR shit at us,
which was even further from the charter than the previous, way away from the charter.
But in 2000, we had the Senate report written, right? We had a Senate report that was 2002, that was 2 booklets thick, that stated that cannabis had no harm and should be legalized across the board for everything. Not even regulated so much, taken off the CDSA to begin with, right? And that was, right, and that was the Senate in 2002. I've got copies of it. I know, I've read it myself, right? So where we went for low on this is because we had Chrétien and we had some liberal governments that were actually looking at the fact that we could actually do this. And then we ended up with fucking Harper, right?
Oh, yeah, and then even worse, I mean, I was just kind of a liberal, quote unquote, before, but okay,
I'm a
so
liberal
here's the,
because if it
I'm
wasn't
not,
for the fact that we
not,
some of these stupid
I
policies
call it,
fight with on a daily basis about cannabis, because that's what it is. It's not even the guy; it's these bureaucrats that are underneath in the that work the cannabis bureaucracy that we have to fight with. And that's what a lot of people don't get, is that we keep throwing stones at the fucking big guys. They don't. The deputy ministers do more than the ministers do. The bureaucrats underneath are the ones making the decisions. You want to fight, you have to start fighting with the fucking desk jockey at the beginning of it, right?
right. You know, the last conversation, I remember bringing up this thing about that movie Metropolis, where the guy took the big metal pipe and stuck it into gears and stopped the machine. And prior to me getting into all this kerfluffle about cannabis, I was doing, 40 years or whatever it was, my own fight to stay above ground on my use being labeled like everybody else. We talked about that, and it being referred to or looked at as like drug crazed, hippie freak, or whatever, all that kind of crap, and all the labeling that was a byproduct of what the government was enjoying, which was this incubated mode of cannabis for 100 years, in April 23rd, 1923 on the Hill. And they've been passing these batons from federal government party gang, I call them gangs, from one federal gang to the next federal gang all these years. And since that night that somebody added it after hours on an omnibus bill that was being crammed through already, a contentious omnibus bill that 100 years ago, it went like a fart in a windstorm. Nobody paid attention to it. So the next morning,
U.S. based on prohibition when it came to alcohol and drugs, period. Through the Reagan years, like that was even worse, because we had their fucking infiltrated bullshit falling across our borders, and it's been that way right from the beginning too. Anything the U.S. did, we've had to follow through like a bunch of sheep. Like, and that's what pisses me off the most about Canadians is we're Canadian, we're not American. Quit following what the fuck they're doing down there. Who gives a shit? Let's do our own thing. And we're ahead of the game. We got federal legalization. No matter how you like it or don't like it, or how you slice it or don't slice it, 60,000 people a year are not being arrested for small possession of cannabis. End off. In the States, you're still going to jail for a fucking joint. So you want to keep following them fucking idiots with your head up your ass, you go hard.
Yeah, no, see, this is where, for a number of years, I've identified the fact that Canada is probably going to be the point, the return of this free ditchweed to the hands of the people globally. If it has to start here in Canada, so be it. We shall do it, and we shall then see. Though I guess the thing is, when I was doing my research, I was defending myself, so I had to become my own lawyer and all that kind of crap. And I was digging in, and believe me, I went banshee on the research, on the history, on this, that. I knew more about this plant than at some point my head was spinning. And I remember seeing this one lady with pussycat glasses, and she was dying of cancer or something like that. And she was in front of a board of this semi-round table of all these American white males sitting there like this, and at the end she's crying, and she's saying, I don't understand why, blah, blah, blah. And then basically she said, I just want my plants so I can stay alive. And they had to basically do this or this, and basically they pan, and they're all kind of going, sinker.
There's only ever 6 people in the United States who are ever federally given medical licensing, and they still get it. They get the cans of the fucking 100 joints. We were talking about that not last week, but the week before on Pace, because we had a grower from the States, a provider from the States. There's actually an ex-Israeli soldier, and he's a veteran of, and they're vets that are trying to take care of each other in the States and fighting for these, for the same. And they're looking at the Canadian model for their vets, because our Veteran Affairs pays for a certain amount of cannabis for our veterans, right? And we have years. And so they're trying to model their program that they've got going in California after our program that we have for our veterans here in Canada. So there are certain models that our government, whether we like them or don't like them, whatever color is, I don't care, let's just leave politics out of it. whatever's been done for our veterans up here by the ministries that are taking care of them is being looked upon as good enough for other countries to start with, right?
Right.
So that's
Right.
something that we should be proud of as Canadians, that we have come this far with court case after court case, patients fighting patients, okay? Like, don't get me wrong. If it wasn't for patients fighting for their rights to use cannabis under the Charter 7, Section 5 of our Charter rights to be able to medicate ourselves in whatever manner we want to choose from, which is in our Charter, right? Under Section 7, that's what has gotten us this far. If patients hadn't fought, we couldn't even look at recreational. They wouldn't have been able to even look at the fact that every adult in Canada, and that was my stance too, like, why leave it just for people with medical, okay? Every adult in Canada is using cannabis medically, whether they realize it or not. If they're using it for sleep or they're using it for eating. If that person is so stubborn, because look at, for example, my father who ended up on dialysis because he won't go see a doctor, right?
Mhm.
How many people are medical that would not go to a doctor to get that prescription for cannabis, even if they could? For example, thousands of them. Now they can walk into a store. They don't have to admit that they're even sick, because people don't even want to admit that much these days, right? They can walk into a store. So again, it's not the perfect model, Carl. I know we've fought for different reasons for cannabis to be free for all of us. And I'm sorry that you and I both had to deal with the court system for this, because we both are and both have set our lives up to be targeted by the legal system to fight for cannabis for medical for whatever reason, right? And we've both been through the court system, which sucks. Fighting for your rights, having to hire a lawyer, defend yourself, whatever it is, but we have stood up and done this. So you should be real proud of yourself. And again, I'm not pleased about the medical patients haven't got access, but in reality, they do have more access than they had prior to legalization, because there's no access here. I had to fucking look at a seedy fucking guy down the street with a bag of seedy fucking weed. Now there's a store I can go to. So, and not the greatest, but
let's just take zoom in on that now. And this is kind of where I was going with this all the time. When I mentioned about to ODSP about the fact that my main only prescription for cannabis is not covered, they said this needs to be addressed. That was many years ago. And I find that, of course, the point slip. No, here's the thing. When it comes to, if they ever hypothetically said, okay, we'll cover your cannabis medication. Oh, really? Now let's just hypothetically look at the situation. So is that are they going to tell me now that they throw me a bone and say, but you have to go to the LPs to get your stuff?
There are some insurance companies, if you have certain benefits at your job, or there are, Sun Life is now covering some of those insurance companies, private insurance companies, are covering your cannabis up to a certain amount if you are using a store. So you can,
but yes, you need a receipt, you need and you need to go to those LPs. I'll never buy a product at an LP store ever.
And that's the thing, right? They will, but if you're growing your own, there are certain things that you buy to grow your own, like your nutrients and stuff. You can break those off with your taxes as well, right? So those are things, so those are things that the Canadian government actually has accepted. Like for me, for example, like I don't get anything covered by my insurance company, my husband's insurance company.
No.
When I do my taxes, I put in my receipts up to $300 for my taxes.
I just went through that with an accident with the insurance company and all that.
Yeah, you bet. But
if we don't sign a non-disclosure.
But the thing is, if we do not keep forcing these insurance companies and bringing them the receipts and showing them that we need this stuff and expecting them to pay for it, they're not going to. Because you know how hard it is to fight, and they want you to give up. They want you not to get paid. They want not to pay you. They don't want you to fucking succeed. So we got to keep fighting these fuckers, and that's why.
Okay, but this is a key point of this that I need to bring up, and this is a perfect platform for it, because I want people to really envision or conceive this. When hypothetically they say, okay, we're going to cover your cannabis and force us to go to LPs to buy our irradiated 1000% profit bullshit, all based on illegal laws, by the way. So we're supposed to go to these licensed producers, buy our medicine, but that's being ramped up as a recreational. So you're suggesting that I go to buy my meds from a recreational outlet? Come on, go fuck yourselves.
You've never been into a store,
Yeah.
right? So now you can buy capsules and you can buy topicals, and it's under the health section, health and recreational stores, right?
Right, but here's the crux. What everybody is getting distracted about is, oh, that's great, oh, that's great, oh, that's great. I'll never inhale, I'll never apply an irradiated cannabis LP licensed, registered bullshit, overly protected, illegal product where I can just either grow it for myself, or the fellow patients who are doing this without the irradiation, without all the things that Health Canada allowed their LPs to get away with the pesticides and the nutrients and everything like that had put it off the scale, just so they can continue profiting off that. Okay, so we don't need that.
But we can now.
What's that?
Like the thing of it is prior to legalization, patient to patients was still illegal to do, right? Like, and then the Smith ruling came in. But because of legalization, we can actually gift up to 30 grams to each other. Well, previously we could not do.
Right. So, but that's the thing. Oh, we're allowed to. Oh, thank you. Hold on a second. Says who? And the reason I'm bringing it back to the says who is because
because Owen went to court, right? And so Canada, that's who. I guess we have to follow the laws. We have to live under the laws of the land, right?
But here's the thing. My 2 cases, I was winging this shit. I had no idea what I was up to. I was just trying to do the research I needed. And every time I dug into it, I kept coming up with this scheduling as a narcotic.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, well, hold on a second. And the same reason that I sent that email to the Upper Canada Law Society saying, I'm trying to research my defense with your books, but you keep using the word marijuana in there. I'm really messed up because that's not even a word. Right. So if you want to use that in your legal text,
a racist word that the Americans.
Yeah. Well, yes.
And that would be prohibition in the 20s, right?
Yeah. So when I was, I'm identifying, I guess, a number of things that either people don't want to talk about, they've forgotten conveniently. But everything, because I'm fighting for my life. I'm either going to jail or I'm going to walk free and I'm going to enjoy my life as I should. Now, it ended up being that I walked free, and because all I kept asking was, well, says who? Why? And I went and I took that curtain and I ripped it open on the man behind the curtain as Toto. Okay. And this is exactly how it went down. I wasn't intending to do anything. Maybe if I intended to do it, I would never have accomplished it. But I tripped over the finish line and won. Now, I needed to clarify, because on the second court series that I had in 2017 to 18 up in Newmarket, when I sizzled the Crown's asses for 2 previous appearances, they sent in the big gun to have his way with me. Okay. And I'm like, okay. And then that's when I ran up and I jumped up and I opened a door, and then when the judge put his hand up and before we started, and he said, excuse me, and he says to the Crown, Mr. Bruand, it's to my understanding, Mr. Bruand wants to present a charter challenge. So when you take him down to the booking office, I would strongly recommend that you book 5 to 6 days minimum, because this may take a while. And then he looks at me and says, am I correct in saying so, Mr. Bruand? Now, he's not my friend, as we discussed last time, but he's the best person for me to. And I looked at him and I realized he just gave me my option. He just explained to me my option, which is his duty. And I said, absolutely, Your Honor. So he said, okay. And so that's when I jumped up and I opened the door for the Crown, and he's like, what? We have a nice conversation on the way down to the booking office. We booked 5 days or 6 days in 6 months later. And then that's when I had my anxiety attack, when I came back upstairs and sat down in my chair and I couldn't breathe. And the Crown gets a phone call. He goes out to the hall And when he came back in and he's talking to the judge, I'm trying to breathe, and all I hear is wah, 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 right? This was my story last time. But it's when I dabbed my eyes and I turned around, and when the crowd came back in and they spoke about something, I didn't know what happened. I honestly didn't know what happened. And I'm like, okay. And I dab my eyes and I look up and I just see the judge. The judge was like this, and all I see is this, but blurry, right? And I see teeth. And is he smiling? And I dab my eyes and I look and what I said last time, the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "You're free to go." That's not the first thing he said. When I asked what happened, he looks at me and he says, "Very well done, Mr. Bruand." Now, and I said, "What did I do well?" I had no idea.
I'm going to stop right there, and you're going to finish that after the break. So we have another half an hour for you to tell it. So we're going to take a 3-minute break, and then we'll be right back. So Carl can finish telling the rest of the story, because this is a good part.
You'll like it.
All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
What do you find at paceradio.net? People advocating cannabis education.
Cannabis edibles are an effective way to manage pain and other ailments, especially when you deal with your trusted partner, Legacy 420, in Tyendinaga Mohawk territory. You see, we lab test every product on site to ensure proper dosage every time, which is critical when consuming cannabis edibles. All Legacy 420 edibles are made by our classically trained baker and chocolatier, and we also have super tasty vegan options.
Our baker has been in the industry for 25 years. She's also a chocolatier. Everything from savory to sweet, your chocolate bars, brownies, butter tarts, you name it, we make it.
Talk to our knowledgeable Cannatex about our incredible variety available. Give your trusted partners a call. Legacy 420 out on your road.
Camelford Lifestyle Shop. Open Monday to Friday from 10 till 7 p.m. or by chance. Check out our flags, our t-shirts, plus our hats, and look of that supply of rolling papers, plus much more. We've got bongs and your favorite herbal vaporizers. Look at all the incense we have, as well as for those who collect knives, check out these knives in our collection. And while you're here, stop in to see Shay at the piercing room, where you can get poked by Shay. Daily deals, check them out. Camelford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Camelford, Ontario.
Are you a cannabis content creator? Are you looking for a place to have your content seen? If you answer yes to both questions, then you need to check out cbgtv.com.
Pace Radio is the people advocating cannabis education radio network.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
All right, we're back after that commercial. What do you got there? What is that?
It's a little case that somebody gave me for my birthday years ago. It was like back in the 60s or something. It says, nature's way of staying high, I guess, but nature's way of staying medicated. So,
well, and to be fair, like, back to our sponsors and stuff, like, Campbellford didn't get their medical license or their cannabis licensing, but they stayed alive with papers and stuff because that's still under the Cannabis Act now. Like our store, like I can't sell flavored papers at my convenience store, right? We have to have tobacco products. So, there's that. But the Legacy 420, right? They're on the Tenanga Nation, and that really opened the door for the reserves to just make their own regulations and take off with the medical side of things. So if you're in Ontario, like you are, you can actually have access if you're close to it. Where Al, I guess, is take this off the dog. Not too far from the Tenanga, and they've got access to Legacy 420, but they also have mail order. But they have got some really nice product for patients.
Sure.
Yeah. And let's get back to where you were at, because you were at the judge, and the judge was smiling at you and saying you done okay. So let's get on.
Yeah. So that was it. He shook his head. Well done, Mr. Bond. I had no idea. And that's that evening. That's when I had a conversation with a particular lawyer, and he said, if what you're saying is true, is actual, he said, that's never been done. He said that's unprecedented. And I'm like, huh? I didn't really. It didn't gauge for a little while. Okay, and those two. Here's one. Here, I'll scroll it. It's a case number. That's right. My 2012 up in Bradford. I couldn't find my case number in Newmarket from the 2017-2018 one that I'm referring to right now. But again, I defended myself, and the fact that I had this crazy conversation with the same lawyer. That was a Friday in June of 2018 that this last court case I had. But, okay, that was Friday. On a Tuesday, 4 days earlier, that lawyer was being interviewed on CP24, and I had asked him to mention something like, stop saying what he's saying. You need to say this. And he was saying what he was saying on the interview on CP24, but at the very last 30 seconds, he actually said, he threw it in and said what I was asking him to say. So, and there was someone here who heard the conversation I had with him 2 days earlier on the phone and was sitting there listening to him being interviewed on TV 2 days later and said, oh my God, this is the person you had that conversation with the phone. And he just said what you asked him to say. So it was really cool. But this, in the conversation on the Sunday prior to him being on TV, he kept insisting to me, Carl, whatever you do not do, and I can't emphasize enough, with everything I've got, do not go to trial. Okay. And I'm like sitting there going, why are you saying that? Like, I mean, like this is the second time now that I'm in the process of doing something that I'm unaware that I'm doing. And I thought, no, hold on a sec, because that's exactly what I need to do. And he just said, no, that's all I can tell you. So my question was, after the fact, if me insisting to go to trial against the Crown, who's insisting, Trudeau's henchman, sending me to jail, and I got one of the top, quote unquote, top cannabis defense lawyers telling me, do not go to trial. But the only way that I actually managed to stand up to Goliath was, let's go to trial. Okay, because I said, you got me to, my back's against the wall. I got nowhere else to go except trial. So you were the ones who were actually forcing me to go to trial. So that's what we did. And that's why when we came back in the courtroom, we got a call. So did he shake? Did he sign something? No, he didn't. He's having an anxiety attack right now. And they said, okay, pull the plug, pull the charges. That's what happened. I'm sorry, but if I had a lawyer, they would have avoided me ever exercising that one fucking muscle that I needed to do.
Well, your lawyer would have caved.
No, my lawyer would have been shit. My lawyer would have told me exactly what to do for them.
Your lawyer
for them, not for me.
But in hindsight, I wouldn't say that lawyer was probably doing it for them. I think the fact of the matter was he's looking at the fact of the of the
No. I'm going to stop you right there. I'm sorry to jump on this, but this is the interesting thing that people need to become aware of is that when you think somebody's actually standing up for you, when they got 1 foot on the boat and 1 foot on the fucking dock, you're not defending anybody but yourself and your own interests. And as far as a lawyer's concerned, okay, they're sworn to their oath. They need to retire. They do not want to get blacklisted. And cannabis for 100 years has been bread and butter for lawyers, for the courts, for everybody and their dog. And nobody's talking about this. And you need to come.
Right. They've cut their legs off because now there's no crime. There's no
Thank you.
There's no but the thing is, that was the point of it. Like when we were looking at it, we wanted to cut court costs because we wanted them to actually be going after the fucking real criminals, because we weren't. They were
Okay.
People who use cannabis aren't criminals, so why would they be even criminalized to use us as bread and butter? So cut them off. You fucking rights. I don't want them fucking.
Well, I'm telling you,
I think the fucking lawyers fucking bread and butter. You know what I mean? Why should they? And you're right, they did. They got rich off possession charges and all kinds of fucking stupid little charges off cannabis for fucking 100 years. Courts fucking in their lips, fucking, oh, here comes another one we can, and then the money into the pockets of police prosecution. Fucking non-criminalized people, and they criminalized us. They made us fucking criminals when we weren't. None of us, no matter whether we're medical or not. People who use cannabis aren't criminals. Period.
Now, Tamara, I'm again in the grand scheme of things. When I was researching all of this in an emergency research mode, right? And I was going banshee on input, like it was just like a sponge. And what I was also realizing was all of this that we're all sitting here being, oh, look, a distraction. Okay, there's an old word called subterfuge, and it is a term used in debating, let's say, and it's basically you throw your opponent on a distraction or whatever, right? You focus on something else so they don't get on you on something you don't want to talk about. Okay, so what I noticed was we're all here talking about personal use of cannabis. Okay, now that's this. Okay, there's personal health and personal use and prevention. But then with that same stupid fucking plant, the ditchweed, that free ditchweed, environmental, climate, industrial, consumer and manufacturing habits. Okay, those are all other sectors of industry at the same time signed off that night, April 23rd, 1923. And everybody went, whoa, bring in the patents. Come on, here, bring them in. We've got them all lined up. And ever since then, I'm wearing polyester. I'm wearing, cotton through in their push too. But I can tell you, in the years that I've been doing my career of various things in the creative world, I always, in marketing and stuff, when there was an idea that you had a golden idea that everybody could kind of relate to, you've got millions on that. But if there's that same whatever product it is or source that you can put 2 or more benefits that somebody could use, it's not 2 million, it's 4 million, and then 16 million. It quadruples. And cannabis, that stupid ditchweed that was deemed narcotic overnight 100 years ago, just like that, it actually is a superior product to not just the synthetic patented replacements all these 100 years and in all those different sectors, including personal health, but it's far superior to, like, an I-beam of cannabis fiber will outperform a steel I-beam in the shear strength of the tensile strength. It's stunning. So why? And here we are, all spinning our wheels over medicine.
It's all about money. You know, when it all boils down to it, like at the end of the day, it's all about who gets rich quicker. And we have known that our whole, it's capitalism. Capitalism, money, period.
So I guess after all this, I'm exhausted. In the past 12 years, 15 years, I've been spending energy to saving my life against other people who are tax-paid people who've been going out of their way to put somebody like me down and never be able to express the fact that these people are actually actively doing this. This is an assault right now as we speak. Our charter is being ransacked by the federal government, by Health Canada. Health Canada's got to be the biggest corporate pull-stroking political joke.
Here's the worst part about it. Like I said before, it won't matter who's sitting at the top. It doesn't matter what party is sitting at the top. It doesn't matter who's elected in. Those bureaucrats never change. So we've had the same bureaucrats running that wheel at the bottom end for decades, right? So you can't be mad at Harper, like, fuck, let's take you in Harper. Can't be mad at Harper, can't be mad at Trudeau, can't be mad, blah, 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 blah. Let's go back 20 years, can't be mad at Chrétien. It's the same people that are sitting in those chairs, the bureaucrats below them that are still there. They're still pushing the fucking wheel, right? So how do you get rid of them? How do we get rid of the fucking bureaucrats at the end of the day? How do we get rid of them?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna bring up that scene in Metropolis with the metal gear and stick in the gears, and I got to tell you, I didn't expect ever to answer my own question. How do I do that? Because I did it. Not only did I do it once, I did it twice against Harper and Trudeau. So to me, it doesn't matter. They're all, as you said, they're all the same. And the fact that these jackasses are promoting partisan differences amongst the same people in the crowd.
Yeah, it's just a vision.
It's like, no, hold on.
Them. Like, they're not dividing themselves, they're dividing us. Right? Because they're all in the same team down below. It doesn't make any difference.
Right. So in a crazy nutshell, and why I brought up my experience in product development and stuff like that, because when you've got something like cannabis, it's unique unto any other plant on the planet. I don't care if you want to argue. The only reason you'd argue against that is because you're trying to hide the fact that it is. That's the only reason I can understand somebody trying to hide that fact. Now, this plant, of course, aloe has its benefits, and cotton has its benefits, and tea tree has its benefits, and, olive oil. But this plant kicks ass in all those 5 different, sectors of industry and humans and human sustaining. Using cannabis, we can almost sustain humanity alone.
They regulate the same way they do with cannabis, right? You can only grow 8 ton of cannabis seeds per year. You're only allowed to farm so much land of hemp. It's the same regulatory stupidity with hemp.
Yeah, and you go and put, every 4 years you got to leave your field dormant so that you throw hemp in there, and it's gonna. If you grow hemp in the other 3 years anyway, that should be growing at all. But you throw that in that dormant year, and all of a sudden you just
toxins out of the soil, right? Like, it's absolutely the best for that. Absolutely.
You just refueled your field. Like, hello, okay, and. So again, all of this, going back to the simplicity of how do we fix this? How do we stop this? Well, 100 years ago, that created, this is 1923, and this is today, and it created this cascading effect of being incubated by these gangs as they pass through the hill, and here we are today. So. To sum it, what goes up must come down, all that kind of crap. So this facade, like I said, if it has to happen in Canada, it's going to have to happen in Canada. Oh, and by the way, when Trudeau got elected, the minister who did a speech to the UN around that time brought up cannabis. And I got to find my email, because I sent her an email before her speech. And I added a whole bunch of really weird things that we're talking about today that she may not have even thought about. And in those 2 weeks, by the time she reiterated her speech to the UN, she brought up cannabis. And oh my gosh, she mentioned a couple of things from my email. Okay. I don't care what anybody says, but I thought that was kind of cool. And as a matter of fact, one of the things I said, if it means that Canada is going to have to take a global leadership in the repatriation of cannabis to the people, then so be it.
Yeah.
It's going to be done. And that was one of the things that was pointed out. If it meant that the monarchy and the Commonwealth countries were all dictated, you got to do this with cannabis 100 years ago, and they all did it, and all their buddies have been making all their synthetic toxic patent billions and quadrillions ever since. Okay. But again, it comes back to how do we simply put the plant back where it belongs?
Yeah.
Well, you just put it back where it belongs. It's as simple as that. And as a matter of fact, it's not going to be complicated. The only complication is going to be for the jackasses who've been profiting off its absence for the past 100 years are going to be standing there going, okay, well, that was a fun ride, but now I guess we got to sit down.
Weaseling their way into the cannabis industry, right? Like,
yeah. It's not to profit. Cannabis was never to profit off of. It was to be supplied for everybody so that they can use it in this billions of ways that it can be used. And from that, you profit. And not only do you profit, but you also help the planet survive.
Your society is
stunning. Okay, yeah. It is stunning, the fact that we're still here talking about it, and let's not get distracted. This is not just about personal health and personal medication, and that we're all sitting here fighting and all. Yeah, they're loving it. It's like they got their hand on our heads. And, look at these guys over here. They're really, in a riptide, you're supposed to just relax and stay afloat and get carried with it, right? You don't fight the tide, because if you're trying to fight the tide, you'll drown, because you'll exhaust yourself just trying to stay, right? It's strange. You wouldn't know that, and it's almost like reverse psychology. So in a sense here, Tamara, it's going to start in Canada. I don't know who I am in this whole damn thing, but I can tell you in the last 12 years, I had no idea what I was doing and what I did, but I've learned to this day, I've learned the crazy things that I actually accomplished, and nobody knows about it because I never spoke about it. That's why I'm on your show. I've been asking a number of people over the years, I'd love to tell me, okay, yeah. Oh, and the other thing that I want to bring up, because we're running down, we got about 6 minutes or something like that.
Yep.
Okay. I wrote a little list of stuff, so I'm going to just try to bang off my bullet points. Okay. Naomi Pauly in Toronto.
I love her.
There's a I want to do a shout out because there's a fundraiser going on this Saturday apparently, and whoever just find out about it.
Puff Mama, Mike Rita, it's all over Facebook, but if you can get there, go out there and fundraise for that old girl, because we love Naomi. You betcha.
Thank you. Okay, so that's that. Okay, leave it at that. Very well. Okay, that name, Pauly, the Cannabis Act review. Okay, we'll talk about that. Maybe advertising. Oh, and about the advertising restrictions and the lifestyle and all those things that Health Canada came out and said, because their toxic synthetic patent evil big pharma company pole stroker guys and gals, okay, they're all there, and they're saying, oh, no, whatever you do, let us continue flooding the market and the media with our messed up fucking synthetic toxic shit that's going to fuck people up more. Let's just please let us the airtime for that on a continuous basis.
I agree with that 100%.
But prevent anybody. So
here's the thing on that too. We don't want to be appealing to children. If you've got an 18 and over market, you're not appealing to children anyways. You're not advertising to children. It's 18 and over. So if you can have a unicorn on a beer can, what the fuck? But you can't even advertise for beer or anything either. So
what am I looking at a Montana's ad on CP2 for at 10:30 in the morning with a beer on it?
Right. Well, they're not
Excuse me. So okay, now aside from that, back to the ads about cannabis. Why did Health Canada specifically say, "Oh, and no lifestyle advertising"? No, I'm an artist. Okay.
Gotta say
I'm an artist.
That's it. That was the bottom line with that. Got to save the children. Can't be appealing to children. That's their answer to that. No matter
what. What did I? Okay, I saw last night an ad for expecting mothers be injecting themselves with some kind of a thing that'll help preborn. Now, I'm sorry, they just crossed the line so grossly, and that's so blatant. It's like an ethics and morals debate unto its own. Okay, I just wanted to throw that out there. And this is what Health Canada is allowing, and the states is allowing every day, for the mind to be sitting there intaking all this stuff, Gazantac or whatever, all these different Oblidi. Did you say Oblidi? Oh, I said I take Oblidi or whatever the fuck the bullshit is. It's sick. It's sick. And do not take if you blah 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 blah. In about 15 minutes, all sped up into a 30-second commercial about that. Oh, if you may cause suicidal, fuck you. So the bottom line is the simplicity of this argument, the simplicity of cannabis on our planet today. I'm the guy who's going to be bringing that home. And I had a discussion with a guy in front of a lift show downtown where I'm smoking a joint, he's having a cigarette, and he was a businessman. I'm a long-haired guy, and we got into talking. And I started talking about the coalition. I started talking about our chartered rights and the fact that all of this is illegal. And he was like, what did I just invest in? And I went, wow. And he thanked me for telling him all about this other stuff that he had no idea. And it taught me that there were a lot of people getting hook, line, and sinker down this, this green gold and all that kind of shit. Boy, did I learn, bless you. Boy, did I learn in the time that I was involved with the coalition, that the people who were screaming, oh, free the weed. What do you mean I can make a buck? Whoa, I'll never say that again. And then the next thing they're like, shh. So then, it's like, no, hold on a second, asswipe. What did you just do? And I'm sorry, I need to make money too, right? As your excuse is. It's like listening to Nazis saying, well, if I didn't do it, they would have killed me.
Right? I know, like everybody just kind of like ran off to the legal market. I have a hard time with that some days too.
There.
Because I'm sitting here like I'm working a Joe job. I'm, I had to retire because
But this is kind of what the government was doing. They were playing.
Yeah.
They're playing everybody. But in the meantime, they're set up right now. Ford's buddies running the Ontario Cannabis Store. Are you fucking kidding me?
I know, and it's the biggest money-making corporation. Why I keep asking, where's the taxation? Where's the plant money? Why are you begging the feds for more money for housing? Why are you putting out public health care? What the fuck is going on? Where's the money? You're getting billions of dollars more from taxation from cannabis, and you're fucking broke, and you're in a deficit? Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And now here's another one, okay? Because we know that in the dairy market, the dairy world sector, that there's a huge bullshit going on there with forcing everybody, all these farmers, to basically irradiate their milk. All right, like the irradiation of the cannabis through all these stores, and the pasteurization process, okay, and how it creates lactose and how it creates problems for people's health down the road, where it's really what it's just giving convenience to get it to the store, to give you 2 weeks or 10 days so you can consume your milk instead of it going bad in 2 days, right? So it's all this kind of crap.
Preservation, right? And that's what it is. Like same with bread. You ever fucking bought a loaf of bread from Dempster's? Like, and it's something I noticed. It sits on my shelf at work for a week. They write it off. Then I bring it home and it can sit on my fucking cupboard for 3 weeks and not get moldy.
I just had a peanut butter sandwich with 2 slices of that stuff yesterday.
Right? Like, it's just like, what the fuck did I buy from Safeway, or when I make my own? 3 days, it's got mold on it. I'd rather see mold than have a fucking loaf of bread that lasts fucking for 4 weeks on my counter without getting moldy.
It's maybe you just lucked out. Who knows?
No, I've got boxes. I've got boxes of it.
Okay, so now again, the coalition.
We got 2 minutes.
What's that? The coalition, when the coalition was formed and everything like that, what I was referring to as a ragtag team of patients. We were all marginalized, dying, sick, and and here we are up against, somebody who's literally just toying with us, just like a cat and a mouse, and we go and we kick their ass in the courts, and again, and then they just turn around and they're okay. So, and they throw in a recreational. Now, Todd Blank was Harper's federal cannabis advisor, one of the guys who was misleading me in my first series of court cases. And that's a guy who I asked, what price point are we? And he said, oh, I guess, we'll take 5 or 7% off the going rate. And I said, the going rate's 1,000% inflated black market street price. What are you talking about, right? And no, as in zero. And he's like looking at me, we never really.
Next week, because we're done. We have to wrap up. So are you going to come back next week and finish this?
Again, listen, if you're inviting me, it's a crazy story. I never had an opportunity to explain this.
Okay, well, let's get you back next week because we got to wrap up because we ran over last time and we don't want to cut into the news that's coming on after because
it was awesome and I appreciate it so much.
With Carl, because we have too much more to talk about. So thanks again, everybody, for coming on to the show. You stick around after the show, after the thing, and we'll finish wrapping this up with you and I and make a date. So thanks for coming on again, everybody. See you next week with Carl again. You take care, everybody.
You're listening to the Pace Radio Network here at paceradio.net.
The opinions of the individuals during this broadcast are their own, and may not be the opinions of their group or other organizations they may be involved with. All medical advice during our broadcast is not a medical opinion and should be checked with your medical physician.
When you have a pain that's reached its peak, Legacy for 20, it's so unique. If organic cannabis is what you seek, here's your trusted partner 7 days a week. Suppository salves, vapes and drops, topicals, edibles, infused pop. Just when life seems like it ain't easy, at Legacy 420, enjoy a pop freezy. Lab tested products, make them the GOAT. Legacy 420 out on your road. Legacy 420 in Tyndonega Mohawk territory. Indigenous organic cannabis at its finest.
Enjoy the buzz of legalization with Campbellford Lifestyle Shop. From lights to plant nutrients, books, consumption accessories, and more, we've got all your basics to grow or consume cannabis. Visit our info center or take a look at our piercing services and body jewelry, now available in-store through Campbellford Lifestyle Shop, 17 Bridge Street West, Campbellford.
Limestone City Hydroponics is Kingston, Ontario's hydroponics shop. Take your growing to the next level and create the optimal environment with a tent kit, or maximize your yield with an ebb and flow flood table kit. Either way, Limestone City Hydroponics has more sizes and options to fit your needs. Are you looking for the power of the sun that adapts to your budget? Then look no further, as they have professional grow lighting. They have indoor grow systems that are easy and cost effective, with many options to fit your living space and lifestyle. Cultivate your growing potential. We have everything you need to succeed. And if you can't make it to the store, they offer local delivery to the greater Kingston area. Remember, when you're looking for experts to help you grow, then look no further than the locally owned Limestone City Hydroponics, 105 Sunderland Drive in Kingston, Ontario. Call them at 613-548-0420.
We are people advocating cannabis education here at paceradio.net.